All right, we are back for the first round of the playoffs reaction, looking ahead to the second round of the playoffs. Some exciting matchups, some less exciting matchups. We'll get it started with our first winner of the week in our matchup between Wes and Nathan. The Evil Empire has been defeated by my least favorite player in the league, Wes. It's tough to have your worst week of the year happen round one of the playoffs.
I was glad that Wes included me in the text thread where he trash talked your team. It's been a joy to witness. It's probably better for the league that Nathan lost, but I'm not quite sure.
I've refused to answer Wes. He has the upper hand now, and I'm retreating.
Just like the actual El Nino current is sweeping through our region right now, Wes has changed his name and is on some kind of a hot streak.
Yeah, I mean, the Tyreek injury directly hurt Nathan and then directly helped Wes with Waddle having one of his best games of the year. And the Miami defense just bringing home 22 points. I said it when he first got him that everyone in the fantasy world was saying, get the Dolphins D. And it helped carry him into the playoffs and into a first round win.
There's some poetic justice to the fact that Wes not only beat Nathan with a 22-point defensive showing, but that Nathan's defense still got him 14 points and he lost. I feel like there's something poetic there.
Yeah, so Nathan had some disappointing outings. Breece Hall was top of the list there, 2.3 points from Breece. I mean, it's tough when the Jets go out and score literally 0 points. What are you going to do there? And then when your kicker is going for -1, that's just insult to injury. You know, kickers aren't supposed to give you a ton of points, but they're also not supposed to hurt against the positive side. And yeah,
it's tough. I mean, he had Tyreek hurt. Stroud was hurt. I think that, he's like the overachieving team during the regular season that just runs out of gas in the playoffs. I think it was a good season, good first season for Nathan in the league, but just some tough breaks at the end of the season.
Yeah, some I don't want to know, maybe harsh words. We got a little bit from Ross and Libby when they guest hosted the pod about how into Nathan's team we were. Libby then doubled down in his last letter to everybody about how we were saying he was, a juggernaut and stuff. We're trying to talk about the best team in the league. So what do you want us to do?
Also, it was kind of a running bit to keep punching up his team.
Yeah, I mean, we finally took him down.
Yeah.
I hope that I was going to email this out, but I only read like the first 5 sentences of Libby's letter. I'll openly admit that. So I don't know, just never pulled it up. But he called Joe Flacco Shane Falco. Well, he didn't call him Shane, but he spelled Flacco as Falco from The Replacements, the movie. I don't know if that was a purposeful joke.
I think that Libby's misspellings are intentional, or at least in this letter, because there was that. And then he said, no regrets. He did that once and I was confused, but then he had it with the GIF and he did it again. So I think that his misspellings are intentional.
Did he have a Keanu Reeves replacement GIF for that first paragraph? Because I didn't check that. I was just so thrown off that he called him Falco that I immediately put it down, was going to email, then didn't do that, then didn't go back to finishing reading the letter.
I am not well versed in the letter either, even though I didn't read it. I'd have to check after this.
Yep. All right. Moving on to our second matchup. Tom versus Sam. This was kind of like these guys are pushing up towards the top. Look out for them in the playoffs matchup of teams. And I think I've been saying it for the last 6 weeks. Like, Tom's team is really good. And he proved it again. Christian McCaffrey is the most valuable player in fantasy football if he's not going to be the most valuable player in the NFL, which he probably won't be, but he's definitely the fantasy football's most valuable player. 40 points in a playoff performance. It's almost impossible to beat a team where a guy gets 40 points on
not to mention
against.
Not to mention Laporta is the number one tight end now. And I think is going to be breaking rookie tight end records if he hasn't done that. So making the Lions forget about TJ Hawkinson, and probably at the end of the season, one of the biggest draft steals as far as value given to him in the playoffs.
Yeah. Scary Terry had a 23-point performance. Washington finally had a good game on offense. Sam still put up 104 points. It's not like he had a super off week, but had some kind of no-shows. Tony Pollard, probably from a value standpoint, one of the most disappointing draft picks of the year. Travis Etienne had slowed down this last couple weeks of the season, didn't have a very good game. And then he also was stuck with a Jets wide receiver. Like I said, the Jets didn't score.
Bad matchup.
So kind of all hit them all at the same time. Puka had a bad showing, whereas last night in the Thursday night game,
I was going to say, if Sam advances in this game, he is probably in really good shape for this next game just because of that matchup. It's wild. The end of the season for football always makes these fantasy playoff matchups kind of crazy because of the nature of the game and injuries and all that.
Yeah. Yep. It's brutal. Ross versus Seth in our next matchup. Ross, inevitable. Going to keep moving on. We'll see how he does in his matchup against Libby coming up, but just got enough to win in this one, 113-90. Pat Mahomes didn't have a great game, but he got good showings from Cooper and finally Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I mean, show your value in the playoffs. It doesn't matter that he's been basically causing Ross to lose every game up until the playoffs, but
that Raiders game was wild.
Where the Chargers basically just gave up, and
the Raiders ran the Chargers coach out of town. But yeah, I mean, he got the right performance from Devontae at the right time.
Only Ross could have a player on a team where the Raiders didn't score a point the week before.
Yep.
Then they play the team that is giving up on the season and on their coach and score 60 points?
Yep. 63. Yep.
Yeah. So
things are going your way.
That's what happens, Seth, when you match up with Ross. He said it in his email that he thought it was a mistake. It was a mistake. And
what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Inevitable.
Seth had some tough kind of matchup. I don't know why he started Kareem Hunt. I've been trying to start him. I dropped him recently. He put him in as a kind of stopgap, 2.5 points there.
Who else could he have put in there, though? I think Brian Robinson is out. I don't know who was on waivers to pick up, so I think he was just kind of stuck.
Yeah, I don't know who ended up having a good week on waivers that he could have. But like you say, it's at that point, it's a roll of the dice. Like you're looking at the top 5 guys on the waiver wire, and maybe one of them's going to do well, and you just picked the wrong one. But he did pick the guy that's like specifically sharing the backfield and is super touchdown dependent. Sure. He could have maybe gotten back in if Lamar would have had a good game, but Lamar's been, Mr. MVP of the real NFL season, but has not been an MVP fantasy football player. Brian Robinson being out definitely just submarined.
I think Libby alluded to it in his letter, but I think the running back position hurt Seth this year. He never really had a good one, and
Brian Robinson was so solid.
He was, but not consistent.
Yeah. Speaking of Libby, our final matchup, Libby took on Stefan, took care of business there against the lowest seed in the playoffs, as he was given that matchup because Nathan decided to not take the lowest seed. Nathan still would have lost to Stefan anyway, so at least he can feel okay about he could have picked whoever and it wouldn't have mattered. But Libby outlasts him 101-91. Had good games from Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Who's he?
I have no idea.
Some random backup running back on the Lions ended up having 23 points.
Many points since. Yeah. He must be a rookie or something.
I don't know. I mean, he must be some undrafted guy. Definitely not a first-round draft pick. Very good value for Gibbs, especially at the end of the year. Livy played his cards right, got him, and I mean, between him and St. Brown and that Lions offense, when it's clicking, it's tough.
He's got to be feeling good, and I know he regrets not getting Laporta because Tom stole him from him, but he's still got to be feeling good that the Lions are good and they're getting him points.
Yeah, Stefan had a bad showing by Eckler. Chargers stink. If Eckler would have been solid all year long, Stefan's team probably would have been a consistent top 5 team in our power rankings, but he just never was. Brandon Cooks finally had a bad week. He had been like really solid as that third wide receiver in Dallas, but Dallas finally played a good defense and kind of got put down. And then the Chargers defense. Yeah.
Defenses should not score negative points. I'll continue to say it, but that was tough. And if the Chargers were actually competitive, they should have been good. They should have been a good team this year, but the Chargers are kind of like the Vikings of the AFC. They confound reason, and that's tough.
If Stefan starts T. Higgins over Brandon Cooks, he wins.
Yeah, and that's a tough call too, because Jamar Chase ended up getting hurt during that Vikings game, so he didn't know that Chase was going to go out. I think if he knew that beforehand, he probably would have started Higgins. But that's tough.
All right, we roll right into our look ahead for round 2 of the playoffs. We've got Wes versus Tom. No Thursday night games for either these guys, so they are currently at 0-0 as we record this on Friday. We've got Tom with a 106.8 and Wes with a 106.3 projected. So this is going to be tight going into it. Who do you got?
It's going to be Tom, I think. McCaffrey has just been so dominant.
Baltimore's defense is probably going to be the best defense that they've played in a little bit. I mean, San Francisco's offense just rolls whoever they play. I do kind of like Goff against Minnesota.
Yeah, you should.
Probably a 20 point performance there.
Yeah, the Lions have a lot to play for, and I think they'll be good. Pittman, when he's healthy, has been really good, and Terry is on a tear. I don't know. It's just hard. Besides Ramondre and the flex, though he can be the entire Patriots offense, he is the entire Patriots offense.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And I guess on the other side, is Aaron Jones healthy? I feel like he hasn't been much of anything this year.
Well, yeah. I mean, A-Chain's got the questionable mark on him too. The Dolphins are going to play Dallas. So does this turn into 2 offensive teams just going back and forth? Yeah. If that's a high scoring game, as always, it's going to be tough to beat. Wes has smartly subbed out that Dolphins defense for the Buffalo defense going against Chargers. So, yeah, I mean, he's got a good matchup there. Again, with Wes, it all just depends on how the Dolphins do. If the Dolphins are in a 42-35 game against Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom can withstand that, even if McCaffrey plays, but 40 points back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, that's true. But I think in Tom's team, he's got like 3 or 4 guys who could put up like 20 plus points. And I think,
but Javonte against New England on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. If I were Tom, I would probably, it's tough to say. I mean, yeah, it's tough to say.
Yeah. All right. On to our second matchup. We've got Ross versus Libby. Who says that they're not rivals?
Libby's got a good showing from Olave last night.
So this is the third time these guys have played, because they played regular rivalry week and now matchup in the playoffs. Libby has the edge now in projected points after you said Olave had a good game last night, 18 points. He is projected 115. Ross at 106. Raiders against Kansas City. I don't know, man. The Raiders are bad. They got lucky, and I just don't see how. I mean, Kansas City's going to have to turn it up going into the NFL playoffs, and the Raiders are bad, and it's a division game.
I think Raiders Chiefs have always been good games to watch. The Raiders have literally nothing to play for other than their own pride and whoever their coach is. And the Chiefs have been just kind of underachieving all year. We haven't really seen dominant Mahomes performances, but like you say, playoffs are coming. They got to turn it up at some point.
Ross is hedging it a little bit with starting Kansas City's defense against the Raiders.
Choice.
Mostert against Dallas. Can Mostert hang on? He's got a questionable mark, just like I said with A-Chain too. So who's going to get a lot of the carries in the backfield there? The Giants against Philadelphia with Barkley. I could see Barkley having a solid game. But this might just be is Pat Mahomes going to just go and light the Raiders on fire and carry Ross into this?
Yeah, it could be a shootout.
Jared Allen against the Chargers on Libby's side. That might be the perfect. I mean, Josh Allen is the perfect quarterback to go against Pat Mahomes and neutralize anything that Pat Mahomes can do. Josh Allen can do just as well from a fantasy standpoint. And then for Libby, it's Lions versus Minnesota.
Yeah, and I think the Vikings have been decent about the run game this year, but I think that this is probably the best duo of running backs they've faced in a while. So I could see. I mean, I think Montgomery had a huge game against the Vikings last year. I could see that happening again. And Amon-Ra is a good check down option too. So I don't know. I think I still give Libby the edge.
Yeah. I would say, I think I'm going to have to go with you on the first matchup. I would say a Ben Libby, Tom Nauman finals is probably in our future.
Both people who have won the league recently, which
multiple
leads me
times.
To another question that I've
has Libby won multiple times?
He has. Is our league top heavy? I feel like our league is top heavy. I was reading the letter, and at the end, Libby was saying that we've had the same Final Four in the playoffs, except for I think West was switched out with Sam. And I think the same teams have been good for a few years. I haven't been relevant since before the pandemic. I think I won, and then ever since then, I've been nothing but bad. I feel like it's just been really top heavy, and maybe that needs to be a discussion point around keepers or something else. I don't know.
Yeah. I know that Tom had I said at the start of the year that Tom had the most beneficial keepers, I personally thought, in the league. He added McCaffrey on top at a good value.
Yeah.
So it does not surprise me that he is in this position at the end. I think Libby also had pretty valuable keepers. And so that those two are going to be in the matchup, whether or not it is actually a keeper thing. Obviously, they've surrounded those guys with other good draft picks, but you can pick and choose who you want to put money on, especially in a salary cap league, as opposed to it just being random chance that you get those guys. Keepers in a salary league might be what's causing the imbalance of power, but who knows? I mean, my team's never been good. So this league has been going on for like 10 years and I've never sniffed the championship. So it might just be because I'm bad. I think everyone else has Sam won?
I think
Libby, for your next letter, give a list of the people in our league and how many times they've either been to the final game, the championship game, or have won. I would like to know how many people in our league have actually won the championship. Yeah. I know there's multiple people with multiple, and there's also multiple people with not even close, like me and Stefan. And I mean, you've been okay. Have you made the championship?
I did. I won 1 year. It was 2019.
Oh yeah, you did win.
I picked the Simpsons theme.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, but that was it. Like, I think Libby referenced it earlier this year that I'm either really good or really bad. And I think I had like 1 or 2 good years when I first came into this league. And then I've been really bad for a while, and not for lack of effort, but I don't know. It's a random game, but sometimes it doesn't seem so random with this league.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, in one of my other leagues, I was the second ranked team in our league going into the playoffs, and all of the top 4 seeds in our playoffs lost. So that's just how fantasy playoffs works. You can be a good team all year and it's still random chance. So even though I think there may be some advantage for the Libbies and Tom's teams of the world with good keepers, they still have to have good weeks in the playoffs. They have, so they definitely deserve to be here. Just got to draft better next year. Hopefully Alvin Kamara has been terrible. I don't know if I can keep him anymore, even at the value that it's not good. Not good.
It's just random. It's all random, except for Ross. It seems like Ross is always good.
Or if you get to keep Jamar Chase, who's a 23-year-old wide receiver, for $15.
I think there's going to be some discussion around the keeper rules for next year. I don't have anything to add right now, but I think that 2 keepers in hindsight, even though I liked it, was probably too much.
Yeah. Yep. And Lucas and I get to battle it out in the losers draft for who is actually the worst team, even though Lucas gets his team name picked because I edged him out in the regular season because I tanked my entire season just to do that.
You know, what's annoying is that I finally found my quarterback in the losers bracket. Matthew Stafford has had a great year, and I only just added him I think the week before I lost. And I should have just gotten him and played him the whole year. He's been great.
Stafford's good. I wish. So I may, like you, have also picked up a sneaky keeper. If the Ravens can commit to Keaton Mitchell as their starting running back for next year, gold, absolute gold, because I'm pretty sure I picked him up before the you must add by date.
Yeah.
And I want the Ravens. Everyone has wanted the Ravens starting running back. J.K. Dobbins just keeps getting hurt and screwing it all up. And if next year the fantasy gods can look on me and everyone's like, Keaton Mitchell is the starting running back for this team, J.K. Dobbins, you never have to worry about him again. Gus Edwards, we put him on a spaceship and got him out of Baltimore so he can stop vulturing points. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge.
I wish you luck with this. I have Nico Collins, who had a great season before I got hurt, who I got for nothing off of waivers. So I think at this point, that's who I would be keeping, but it's tough to say.
Yeah. Also, Wes, I will trade you back Travis Kelce for a handshake. That's it. Get him off my team. This guy sucks.
Yeah, he's really
terrible.
I don't know if that's the basis for your feud with Wes, but that was tough. And you also gifted him Rashee Rice, who has also been good.
They flipped seasons. Like Rashee Rice finally is good for the rest of the year, and Travis Kelce, ever since he started dating that chick, just unbelievable. I hate to go old man and being like it's the only reason why she's bad or he's bad.
It's him. He's the problem. Hello.
Travis. Just unbelievable.
I feel like we have to give ourselves credit for talking about a league that neither of us have any stake in playoff-wise for a half an hour.
Yeah.
Everybody should be thanking us.
Libby wins the league every other year and barely pumps out 3 letters. Fills in one time and just trashes me the entire show. So it's like, what more do you want from us?
Oh, nothing.
All right. At least we didn't have to write Weekend Update this week.
No.
That's done for the year. We'll see what kind of show we'll do next week for our championship matchup and our look back at this week, see if Tim and I are correct. We will return, so I won't fully sign off, but one thing left to do, and that's to say
Football.
football playoffs.